welcome back to Superior Sunrise. With me now, I have a whole cast of people from the Wyoming Ag in the Classroom. I want to first introduce Superior Livestock Representative Ray Mader, the Executive Director of Wyoming Ag in the Classroom, Jesse Defoe, and one of the teachers who uses this program, Rhonda Purdy. And Ray, first tell us Superior's connection with this program and why you decided to support it.
Well, I got involved a few years ago. We used to have the bookmark winners on our program at Sheridan, on Sunrise at Sheridan at our Sheridan sale. And then I kind of got strong-armed by Jesse here and Randy West, who's their development director, to get on the board, and that's how I got involved in it. And it's been great, and it's a great organization.
Jesse, tell us a little bit about the history of this program and why it got started in the first place.
Sure. So Ag in the Classroom actually got started back in 1986, and there was just a group of people just like Ray who said, we need people who knows where our food comes from, and our kids clearly weren't getting that done. So fast forward many years, in about 2012, we looked at it and we said, we have lots of great programs here and there, but we need something more consistent in the classroom. So that's when the board decided to create what's known as the Wyoming Stewardship Project. And so what that is that there's units of study. There's one in Ag, one in Minerals and Energy, and one in Outdoor Tour and Rec. And what we did is we took industry leaders from all across the state. We said, what do our kids need to know about your industry? They created concepts. Then we had teachers from all across the state come in and help us write the lessons to make sure there was something they would be bought into. And then the Department of Education went through and looked at all the standards and said, you guys are meeting them. This looks great. We need this in our classroom. So it was a really great collaborative effort of industry, educators, and Department of Education who says, our kids need to know who Wyoming is and to keep us strong and have the legacy that we want in Wyoming.
This program, you really have the foundation. You're backed by the Department of Education. This is really a strong program. How is this program being implemented in the classroom? What is some of the curriculum that you're teaching to your students?
Well, when we choose the unit of study that we're going to do, it is cross-curricular. It hits math, reading, writing, engineering, everything that ties right into what I would normally be teaching, and just is able to give us a more localized focus.
And what grade are the students that you're teaching, and what are some of the things that these students have told you about this program?
So I teach second grade, and my students loved it. There was one activity that we did where they imagined that they were pollinators. The bees weren't there to pollinate their alfalfa crop. And as somebody who owns a farm and ranch operation, I feel like I represent ag pretty well, but this just gave me so many tools and more insights, because some of my kids said, what's alfalfa? and once we talked about that, they were so engaged, and there was the relevance to it. And, being in a town of 1,500 people, you think, oh, they're farm kids. But not very many of my students have that connection to ag anymore. And so we were able to talk about those machines that they see out in the fields when they go by, and what's growing and why it's growing, and how it impacts them, and what they eat, and the gas that they put in their cars, and when you flip the switch, where does that electricity even come from? And so it was really eye-opening to them.
You kind of mentioned it's more than just agriculture. There's a lot of sectors that you guys cover. Jesse, tell us a little bit about what this program encompasses that you're directly teaching these students.
Sure. Well, we realized that when we went to put the stewardship project together, the one thing we all have in common is the land. And so we're very much a multi-use state. And so we want our kids to know and be really proud of those resources, and that those resources can work together. So for second, third, fourth, and fifth grade, there's an agriculture unit, a minerals and energy, where we go everywhere from renewables to non-renewables, and also outdoor rec and tourism, because a lot of our ranching community and so much of our federal lands, they don't know the difference between private and public, our state trust lands, so many things that are critical to our state. And we're like, we want to take ownership of our kids understanding this information, because in 20 years, when they're making decisions, when they're voters, when they're community leaders, they need to know this and have a solid foundation.
And this program is entirely, right before we go, you're a nonprofit organization. How are you funded? And for people who are watching who want to get into donating this program, what do they need to know about that?
Well, we'd like to thank Superior. They've gone ahead and kind of set the standard there as donors, but anybody across the state, we'd love for them to be part of our community. They can go online to wyaitc.org. There's a little donate now button right at the top. You can't miss it. And we can also leave information for folks, but we'd love to have support. When you support us, you help Ag tell their story, and most importantly, to our next and coming generation.
Well, thank you all so much. Oh, and Ray has something to show us here. Tell us what this plaque is.
This plaque, Superior donate on their donation. They're bookmark sponsors. We have a bookmark contest, which these kids draw up, doing our values in the state of Wyoming. You know, and anyway, this is the one that Superior took care of this year, so that we got a plaque to give Danny or whoever wants to hang it in what office. This is what it is. So.
That is so incredible. Thank you all so much. We really do appreciate the work that you're doing for that next generation. It really is important. When we come back, more Superior Sunrise coming up next.